Yeah. Nothing. This shelf ice looks strong enough for me to stand on. New year, new gear, I guess? What's up, guys, and welcome to the first Connecticut angler video of 2020. Now, I've been seeing my Instagram feed here, and I've been seeing you guys. First 20-incher of 2020. Had to beat off the 18s to catch this one. I didn't know fishing in winter could be so easy. Yeah, I've seen you out there all right. No, but seriously, guys, I'm glad somebody is out there catching the fish, because I'll tell you what, it has been an absolute grind for me in January. Yeah. Nothing on the bugger, nothing on the tandem nymph rig. Boy, guys, I had very, very high hopes for this pool, and I feel pretty confident that I've fished it thoroughly. Nothing. I've only had a handful of opportunities to get out. Most of those opportunities have fallen on times when it's been well below freezing, which, as you know, is just a miserable time to be out in the water. Just the other day in the Naugatuck, I was busting through inch-thick shelf ice just to wade, 6 feet out. It's been a grind, guys, and all I have to show for it is some dace. I still have not gotten my first trout of 2020. But I'm looking to change that streak today, and there couldn't be a better day for it. Sure, as you look around me here, you're seeing a lot of snow. I'm sure it looks freezing cold. But in fact, it is actually not freezing right now. The thermometer has ticked just over 40 degrees, which is actually pretty warm compared to the 20-degree temperatures I've had recently whenever I've had the opportunity to get out. And frankly, guys, I'm done messing around with the wild trout streams. I'm done trying to mess around with the TMA over on the upper Naugatuck. I have come to, well, let's face it, one of Connecticut's best trout rivers, the Farmington West Branch. I have the 9-foot 5-weight with me today. I'm going to be tossing tandem nymph rigs. I'll probably be switching up flies from time to time, trying to home in on something that works. We're going to start out with the big black stonefly up top and a zebra midge on point and see how we can do with that. Let's get to it, folks. Well, it looks like I'm still going to be contending with quite a bit of shelf ice, but the water's looking nice, guys. It's looking nice. All right, guys, so there's another angler on the water here, so I'm going to try to keep the volume to a minimum, but let me kind of explain what I'm doing here. I'm working this tandem nymph rig, as I mentioned earlier. Since I'm kind of going for distance here, I am using an indicator, just so I can really detect subtle strikes. Also because I'm wearing hip waders and I can't wade out too far. So I really have to rely on my line to get me where I need to go, rather than just walking out there and using a shorter length of line. Okay, no luck yet. So I should probably change something. And I think what I'm going to change is the depth at which I'm fishing, because I haven't really hit bottom once. And it's probably an indicator that I'm not fishing deep enough. Oh boy, casting with an indicator that high up on the leader is not a thing of beauty, guys, let me tell you. Oh, it looks like I got another tangle on my hands. Grand. Oh, beautiful. Oh no. Oh, that's ugly. I've got probably 8 feet of line and a hinged nymph rig beneath that I'm trying to juggle. Oof, I feel my these hip waders are leaking on me. My leg is starting to get quite cold, which is particularly frustrating because I literally just bought these hip waders and they're already leaking. Definitely sending these back. Yep, my foot, in fact my entire left leg is just about soaked now, which, as you can imagine, having water as cold as what's coming down the Farmington, leaking into my boot is anything but ideal. At the same time, this may be my last shot in January to finally get a trout. And so I'm really trying to make the most of it and just tough this out. But I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this, to be perfectly honest with you. Alright guys, well, no luck so far. Water is continuing to leak into my hip waders. This is getting to be very uncomfortable. And I'm just standing in shelf ice here. I'm going to switch up the flies that I'm fishing in the tandem rig here and fish my way back down towards my truck and see if I can't come up with something. If not, I do have some other footage I recorded. Not of fishing, but of getting together a new fly rod that I'm going to be using this year. So maybe if I can't come up with a fish in due time, I'll work that footage into this video instead. I'm going to go with the good old squirmy wormy. See what it'll do. Grip this barb down right quick. You know, squirmy worm is maybe not the most celebrated fly in a fly fisherman's toolkit, but it works, guys. It gets the job done, sometimes when nothing else does. Boy, look at this, guys. This shelf ice is actually strong enough for me to stand on. I mean, it's not even straining under my weight. But anyway, okay, maybe straining a little bit under my weight. But anyway, guys, as you can imagine, I came up with nothing. And my hip waders here are filled with water right now. My feet are absolutely frigid. Thankfully, I have a full change of clothes up in the truck, so I'm not really sweating it. It looks like this outing leaves me with the same results as my last handful of outings, despite being on a fantastic river under relatively forgiving conditions. All throughout 2019, I did think ahead to what it was going to be like when winter finally hit. You know, guys, I'm pretty confident in being able to catch trout March through December. But even after more than 15 years of trout fishing, January and February tend to leave me demoralized and questioning everything I think I know. Anyhow, I'm freezing my butt off right now. I'm going to get these wet pants and wet waders off. I'm going to pack these waders up and ship them right back to where they came from for a refund. In the meantime, I'm going to bring you guys back, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago, to some footage I recorded where I'm going over a new fly rod that I'm going to be fixing up and eventually using on the channel as the year progresses. So, sorry guys, this is the first no-fish episode I think I've ever really posted, but I think it was inevitable. I promise that if the fish gods permit, I'm going to try to keep episodes like this to a minimum. Let's get back to the house. I'm going to show you this new rod that I'm going to be working with. What's up, guys? It is actually a fairly balmy day for January. here in Western Connecticut. We're at about 50 degrees right now. It's nice, guys. It's pretty nice out here. So I thought I would take my my littlest Connecticut angler out for a little bit of fresh air and show you guys some of the stuff that I'm hoping to be able to use over the course of 2020. Now, a lot of you have asked me about the gear I use, maybe some more specifics about my gear. I think primarily you were kind of talking about my fishing gear, specifically my fishing rods, what types of rods I like to use, how I rig them up. And we're going to get to that, actually, in a minute. But first, I want to show you some other things. Now, when I first started this channel, like about 6 months ago, a little more than that, I wasn't really sure if I was going to stick with it or not. But I don't know if she's entirely enjoying getting all the sunlight. Anyhow, when I first started this channel about 6 months ago, I didn't really know if it was going to be something I would stick with. I didn't know where it was going to go. I was experimenting. I was interested in doing it, but was I going to stick with it? Was it going to prove to be too much work? I wasn't really certain. Well, as it turned out, making these videos is something I really enjoy. And the channel has continued to grow slowly but surely, so I'm starting to try to recruit some new stuff into what I'm going to be able to show you guys. So, here we have the canoe, folks. We got this canoe quite a long time ago, years ago, and we haven't yet done anything with it. I would love to start bringing that canoe out, maybe do some fishing on still water at the lake beside my house here. And we also have this here. Ignore the dead Christmas tree and my children's bug collecting gear. We got the boat here, guys. So this was a boat that I bought when I was a teenager, and I used it right up about until the time that I graduated high school, at which point I parked it and proceeded to more or less forget that it existed. And very fortunately, it was actually stored at my uncle's place for almost 20 years until just last year I went and picked it up, and I'm hoping I can get that thing on the water for 2020 as well and maybe create some videos in that boat. Okay, I'm going to have to tend to the little one here, but I'm going to get together some of the gear that I'm going to show you, and I'll catch up with you a little later tonight, which, if you're watching this video, is going to occur in just a matter of seconds. And there we are. Well, a couple hours have passed. I have gotten all of the mini Connecticut anglers of the house settled, and I'm ready to finally pick back up where we left off, showing you the last piece of gear that I'm going to go over, and that's going to be the bulk of what the rest of this video is about. Now, I was thinking the theme for this video might sort of be New Year, New Gear. And this is kind of new gear. It's going to be new gear as far as what you've seen me use in the channel before, but this gear is actually going to be kind of a blend of old and new, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about as soon as I go get something off the rod rack in my garage. Let's go. Okay, so here we are. This is what we're going to be looking at today. Ooh, and you know what? It'd be worthwhile to bring this along as well. Alright guys, so here we are. We got this old rod here. So let me just give you a little bit of background story about this fishing rod. Long before I ever even considered fishing for trout, I was a dedicated stillwater bass angler. And I mean, this is going back to when I was 8 years old maybe. At one point when I was a teenager, I actually did buy an 8-weight fly rod, and I used it to go bass fishing with popper flies. It was something I really enjoyed, but I only did it for maybe 2 or 3 years, graduated high school, ended up leaving all of my rods behind, and really kind of didn't give a second thought to that old fly rod I had bought for bass fishing. Only several years later did a buddy of mine get me involved in trout fishing. And only several years after that did I actually think about picking up a fly rod and fly fishing for trout, entirely forgetting for a little while that I had even ever used a fly rod before. And guess what, guys? Remarkably, this is that fly rod. This is a Eagle Claw Black Eagle 8.5 foot 8-weight fly rod. The very same fly rod I bought over 20 years ago to use for bass fishing. This is actually the reel that I bought for it, which is an old Cortland. It is metal, I mean, it's not plastic. I could probably clean this reel up and put this entire combo back into action. But I thought that I would do the best I could to restore this and get it to a nice working order for the 2020 season so I could start using it to make some videos. So that's what we're gonna do today. But there are a couple problems that we have to address. Namely, at some point, I apparently broke the tip off this fly rod and repaired it with the tip from a spinning rod. Obviously, we're gonna have to fix that. I'm also not about to put that really old reel back on. So I figured I would get something new and get it decked out with some new line and everything. So let's take a look at how I'm going to address this. So, first off, let's see how I'm going to address the reel, because I have it right here. This is a brand new 7/8 weight fly reel. Like most of my gear, this is quite cheap. This is a maximum catch, I think they call it tail. Yes, tail. Which I believe only costs something like $50. But I'll tell you what, guys, it looks pretty nice to me. The bearings feel pretty nice. I mean, it remains to be seen how the drag is going to perform, but I'm looking forward to using this thing. I mean, I don't really have any complaints based on what I'm seeing here. So that is going to replace the old reel that was on this 8-weight. Okay, but what about the rod tip? Well, for that, I have this neat little package here. Now, this should be, I hope, a replacement rod tip for a fly rod. I ordered this off Amazon without really checking the ship date. And it ended up taking a month to get here because it came from China, precisely Yiwu Jinhua City, and had to go through customs, I think. I'm hoping it's what I ordered, but you guys are going to find out along with me. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we have a whole lot of guides. Ooh, there is a tip guide, but oh boy, I don't know if this is going to be a large enough diameter. Let's see what we're working with here. Oh, I don't know, guys. I don't know if this is gonna cut it. It looks like it actually might be too small diameter. So I may have to see if I can't find a replacement rod tip elsewhere, but I'll have to do a little bit of tinkering before I know for certain. Okay, well, there are some other problems with this rod that I may or may not try to take care of eventually. One of them is that the reel seat at some point broke. You can see here there's actually a big chip missing from it, and it does actually prevent the collar from screwing all the way down. I don't know if that's going to be a big deal, but let's just say it is. I'm completely content to just zip tie the reel for now. But that may be something that makes it to another video, trying to replace a reel seat in a fly rod. We'll see. Not gonna happen this time though. But I want to show you guys what I'm going to put on that reel because, well, here, one second. Let me get a beer real quick. Okay. Now, the fact of the matter is, I don't generally buy expensive gear, guys. I don't even buy like mid-tier gear. If I can get something that works, that catches me fish, that generally holds up to abuse, that's what I'm going for. So you're generally not going to see me using gear that you're going to wish that you had or get jealous about. Trust me on that one. Suffice it to say, this fancy little Trout beer bottle opener is the only piece of Orvis gear I own. Not that I have anything against Orvis, they're a great company, but the point of me saying this is that in a lot of cases when we're talking about fly fishing rods, one thing we don't necessarily want to skimp on if we can avoid it is line. And so that is why I'm going to be spooling up that new reel I showed you with some Cortland Big Fly Trout Series line. 8-weight, white and light green. It's a 100-foot line. It's got an extremely aggressive profile, and that's going to be perfect for the sorts of things I'm going to want to throw with this 8-weight rod, which is either going to be really big, heavy streamers, or maybe even bass poppers, depending on where I decide to take this channel. This is not super cheap line, guys. In fact, I would go on a limb and say this line is probably worth more than both the rod and the reel. But it's gonna be worth it, guys. And it's worth considering getting some really good line. Can you get away with super cheap line? Yeah. If someone's brand new to this and saying, can I get away with a $20 line just to kind of experiment with it, see if fly fishing is something I want to do? Absolutely. A $20 line will work. It's gonna be just fine for experimentation purposes. But once you know it's something you're committed to, you might as well get something that is going to make it as fun and as smooth as you can, right? So, I am going to get started on seeing if I can't fix up this rod tip. Then I'm gonna spool up this reel and get this thing ready for the water. I'm not really sure when I'm going to have this out in the river. I'm sure it is coming soon enough, guys. Don't worry, you're gonna see me out in the water again really, really soon. Videos like this are probably never going to comprise any large part of my channel, but if you want to see them sprinkled in every now and then, maybe me talking about certain gear choices I make or why I use certain things, you know, hit that like button, let me know, subscribe if you like what I'm doing out here, and I'll see you guys out in the water.